today, as our parenting child size tip, we wanted to talk about offering choices, which most people have heard of. And again,
Mhm.
there's oftentimes some confusion or misapplication of that. So we all don't like choices to be taken away from us. We like our freedom.
Mhm.
There is an effect of having too many choices, and I call that the cereal aisle effect. When you're at the grocery store, right? And you're walking down the cereal aisle and
Yep.
there's what, 600 types of cereal? I literally I might be accurate on that. I don't know. But in the grocery store there's way too many for us um to make a calm choice about what kind of cereal we want, right?
I
Uh
call it the Subway deli situation.
right. There's too
They're
too much.
making your sandwich right now. They need to know right now.
Yeah.
Too many things. Anyway.
Yeah. So um in the cereal aisle, we tend to self-limit. We tend to say,
Mhm.
these are the brands I like, or these are the types of cereal I like. Or
Mhm.
we go to that section of the aisle and say, these are our choices. So the first thing about offering choices is you don't offer many. And again, even uh, people who love to have lots and lots of choices when we're under stress, that gets to be overwhelming. So really 2 choices, maybe 3 at the outset. Not That's not the right word. So the first thing is to when you offer choices is to offer just a couple choices. 2, maybe 3.
Mm.
Yeah, otherwise it's just too overwhelming. And if you don't believe me, think about walking down the cereal aisle or that pressure of, being at Subway or Mod Pizza, and then, "What do you want? How much?" I don't know."
Yep.
So, the second thing about offering choices is, uh, that both choices are acceptable to the parent.
Mm.
So, if you say to your child, "You can do your homework or not do your homework and get a spanking," the second one really isn't acceptable to you, you know?
Not really.
Yeah.
You
So
still want the homework done.
right. So if you want you can say, um, you're going to do your homework. You can do your homework at the dining room table or in your room, if those are both acceptable to you.
Mhm.
Or you have to eat breakfast. You can have what I cooked, or you can have a granola bar. You know, if that's acceptable to you. If that isn't acceptable to you, then you
Yeah.
say, if you want your child to eat what you cooked for breakfast, then you say, you can sit in this chair or that chair as you eat
Mhm.
breakfast. So both choices are acceptable. You say, it's time for bed, you can walk to bed or you can skip to bed. Or you need to put your pajamas on, you can wear the pink pajamas or the purple pajamas.
Mhm.
So both choices are 100% acceptable.
Right.
And it helps people comply. It helps children comply if they feel like they have a little bit of power in how they comply.
Mhm.
So offering choices isn't about whether they do something, it's about how they do it or when they do it. You
Right.
can, yeah. S- And it's also, again, not that it's not an acceptable behavior or a consequence. It's not you can go to bed or be grounded. It's you are going to bed.
Yeah.
And
I've talked to I've talked to my cousin he's now in a full adult and
uh
realizing his own what his struggles were as a child and why he was a difficult kid.
hmm
Um and he was explaining to me the processes that were going on in his brain, like when people would give him choices, which were actually ultimatums of you can do
mm,
this or you can do it after I spank your butt, or
hmm
which again, that's not actually a choice; it's an ultimatum.
yeah, Yeah.
And his brain processes, he said, "No, because I figured, I mean, for me, it was worth it to do what I wanted in the moment, even if there was a consequence later. So it didn't matter." And so
Yeah.
those choices were ineffective.
Yeah.
And it did not get the parent what they wanted, and it didn't teach him what he needed to learn, and he had to learn it the hard way, not by
Yeah.
being punished, but by going through life experiences later and realizing, oh, maybe they had a point.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Um,
yeah.
yeah,
And there's a place for consequences. There are
absolutely.
consequences if you don't do something.
Hmm.
Besides being acceptable, if you make those two choices fun, it makes
Yeah,
it even better. And this, most things that work with kids also work with adults, which shouldn't
yeah.
come as a surprise to us. So, um, casual Fridays increase
Mm,
retention in workplaces. So
mm,
if you say to your employees, we have this kind of expectation of how to dress, but on Fridays, you can wear jeans. People like that job a little better.
yeah,
And again, they're not saying dress this way or don't come to work or dress this way or you'll get fired.
right.
They're saying we're going to give you this kind of acceptable thing and we're going to make it fun.
Yeah.
So,
I think using choices in a healthy way also helps to not only foster individuality in your child, which you want them to learn independence and individuality and to think
mhm,
for themselves. Um, but it also um, teaches them diligence within the framework of what they are able to give at any given moment. Because we all want to have diligent, responsible children. That's our goal
mhm,
as parents, or should be,
mhm,
is to raise them to be independent, responsible adults, right?
mhm,
That's the hope at the end of the day.
who don't
Um,
need us anymore to,
who
to
don't
offer
need us
those choices
anymore,
or put
which
them in
is that
timeouts. Yeah.
but teaching them or giving them this framework of choices of it's time to go to bed. Are we hopping there? Or are we crawling like a lizard?
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
I
Again,
love
and
that, by
and
the way. I
it's
hadn't thought of hopping like a lizard
my
or crawling like a
nephew.
lizard.
Oh, my nephew when he was 2 took the bag of balloons and threw them all over the floor.
Oh,
And this was one of the times when my patience was better than it usually is, because I
uh-huh.
because I'm like, "Well, you have to pick him up. You made a mess. You pick it up.
Uh-huh.
I'll help you, but
Mhm,
you pick it up."
mhm.
And he started picking it up with his toes to put it back in the bag. And I'm
How
like,
fun.
"Okay, cool.
Yeah,
I don't care.
totally
It's getting
works.
picked up." And he did
Yeah.
that for almost 10 minutes before he finally got bored with it. But it was
Mhm,
hilarious. It was cute. But it was one of those choices of, "No, it just needs it back in the bag. I don't care how you get it there. You can
mhm,
pick it up with your fingers or your toes."
mhm.
Um,
I love that.
it was so cute. It was great. I had a point and I've lost it, but that was anyway.
I interrupted.
No, it's okay.
Or I got you to interrupt yourself, maybe. I will add, if it comes back to you, add it, what your point was, just add it in. But I will also say in offering choices, it's often best if you leave out the "you have to go to bed, would you like to wear your pink or your purple pajamas?" Just say,
Mhm.
"Would you like to wear your pink or purple pajamas?"
Yeah.
Or are you, what did you say, crawling like a lizard to bed or hopping like a bunny to bed?
Yeah.
You don't have to add the "you have to go to bed." They know that.
Yeah.
With most things we tell our kids, we've told them at least once, if not 100 times before. They
Yeah.
kind of know the expectations. And it also, if you don't say that, it doesn't give them anything to argue against. So if you say it's time to go to bed, they can say, "I don't want to." But if you just
Mhm.
skip that part and say pink pajamas or purple pajamas, and
Yeah.
they're feeling really defiant, they can say blue pajamas. That's great. They can
I
argue
have a
about
nephew
that.
like that. His mom is somebody who really applies the choices, and she has since he was born.
Uh-huh.
And he's a negotiator. He likes to try and find a third option just to make sure
Ah,
it was his idea. It's like, well, if
which,
that third option works, then cool. She and that's how she
yes.
is. Yeah,
And
it's fun.
again, if his creativity or defiance or individuality or whatever manifests in wearing the blue pajamas instead of whatever two colors she offered,
Hmm.
that's much better than applying that to whether or not he goes to bed.
Yeah.
So it's not about whether, it's about
Yep.
how or when. And again, both probably no more than 3. Usually 2 works fine. Um, no more than 3 options. Think of that
Mhm.
cereal aisle. And also think of if that cereal aisle only had shredded wheat, we would not like that, you know?
Yeah.
So, or quite honestly, only had Fruit Loops. We would also not like that,
Yeah.
so to have some option just makes us happier, not only as children, but as adults in the workplace. Psychologists who study workplace are that's one of the constant things they say is to just offer your employees a little choice.
Mhm.
Would you like a blue chair or a brown chair? And they feel more invested in being a good employee.
I can see that.
Yeah. So help your kids feel more invested in being a good kid by ignoring the weather and just going to the how.